You are 20 years old, and the most feared commander in the kingdom is running from you. He sprints through the torchlit dark of the holy tabernacle, robes torn, and throws both hands around the golden horns of the sacred altar, the one place on earth no law allows a man to be touched. Sanctuary, untouchable ground. He turns, panting, and smiles because he believes the gold beneath his fingers has saved him. You do not smile. You lean toward the captain of your personal guard and you whisper 4 words. Settle it right there. And it is settled on the most sacred furniture in the world, in front of the God your father worshipped. You have just shown an entire nation that you fear nothing. Not man, not throne, not heaven itself. You are Solomon. And before your road ends, you will become the richest soul who has ever drawn breath. A fortune that in today's money climbs past $2 trillion. Take every dollar held by Musk, by Bezos, by Gates, by Arnault, by Zuckerberg, stack it all together, then double it. You would still have enough left over to buy entire kingdoms in cash. For the next 30 minutes, you will live every single day of this life, breathe its perfume, taste its gold, and pay its hidden price. But first, you must remember where you began.
Rewind. You are not yet a king. You are not yet anything. You are a whisper behind palace curtains, the child of the scandal. Your father is the great warrior king, the man who felled giants and united the tribes. But you were not born of glory. You were born of a rooftop glance and a sin that swallowed a soldier whole. Your father wanted your mother. Her husband stood in the way, so that man was sent to the front line of the war and quietly never came home. And from that ruin, you arrived. The entire royal court knew. They counted the months. They watched the cradle and murmured the same poison. This one came from the stain. So you grow up in the white city of Jerusalem, and the city does not love you yet. Feel it. This is no green paradise. Jerusalem is a fortress of bare limestone bolted to a mountain, and at midday the sun bounces off that pale rock so violently it blinds you. The heat sits at 40 degrees and does not move. Clean water is the rarest luxury in the world, rarer than silver. Down in the lower streets, the air is thick with dust and the sharp reek of goat dung, and the common people carry that smell in their clothes like a second skin. Watch one of them, your future subject. He will live to perhaps 35 years. He chews bread of coarse barley, so gritty with sand that it files his own teeth down to stubs. And when one of those teeth rots, a simple infection in the jaw becomes a slow 3-day sentence with no escape. This is the world outside the palace walls. This is the ocean of suffering you are born above. And the system that rules this world is older than mercy. Power here does not pass gently. It is seized in the dark, held by the sharpest hand, and lost the moment you blink. Your father is aging now, his mind clouding, his grip slipping, and you are not the heir. Your older half-brother is. While your father lies fading, that brother is across the city throwing a feast, slaughtering fattened oxen, letting the people crown him with their cheers. The throne is already slipping past you. Then your mother moves. She has waited your whole life for this single hour. She slips into the old king's chamber while he is weak and barely lucid, and she presses him. You swore the boy would reign. You swore it, until the dying man lifts one trembling hand and gives the word. and in the space of an afternoon, before your brother's feast has even cooled, you are rushed to the spring, anointed in haste, and the trumpet splits the sky. Long live King Solomon! You did not earn the crown on a battlefield. It was stolen for you in a bedroom by a clever woman who refused to let her son be the child of the stain forever. And now it is yours, cold, heavy, coveted by everyone. You look out over the blinding white city, the toll roads, the trade routes, the gold that has not yet begun to flow, and something hardens behind your young eyes. They called you the son of sin. You are going to make them call you something else. You are going to make them call you the richest king the world has ever seen. And the first lesson you must learn tonight, before the throne is truly yours, is that mercy is a luxury a new king cannot yet afford.
The crown is on your head. It is not yet safe. A throne taken in a bedroom can be taken back in one. So in your first hours as king, you do not make speeches about peace. You clear the board. Your older half-brother, the one who threw himself a coronation feast, comes to you with a soft request. He asks only for one woman from your late father's household. It sounds harmless, but you are already the wisest mind in the kingdom, and you read the hidden move beneath it. In this world, to claim a king's woman is to claim a king's throne. He is testing the lock on your door. So you make a quiet decision, and by morning, your brother is no longer a problem anyone needs to worry about. Then there is the old general, the iron fist of your father's armies, a man whose loyalty has rusted. He sees the board being cleared, and he runs for the one place the law cannot follow, the sacred altar. He wraps his hands around the golden horns and waits to be spared. You give the order anyway. The sanctuary does not save him. And just like that, the last hand strong enough to unseat you goes still. In a single season, you have removed every rival without ever lifting a sword yourself. The kingdom exhales. The throne stops trembling. It is yours. Now you can build. You travel to the high place at Gibeon to make an offering, and that night something extraordinary happens. In a dream, the divine voice asks you a question that would break most men. Ask anything you want, name it. Picture the men who came before you. They would have asked for the ruin of their rivals to end, for armies, for 100 years of life. You ask for none of it. You ask only for wisdom, a discerning heart to govern an impossible nation. And the answer changes the history of money forever. Because you asked for the one thing money cannot buy, you are told you will receive everything money can. Riches, honor, a fortune no king before or after will ever touch. You woke up that morning, a clever heir.
You went to sleep that night, the future owner of the world, and you waste no time proving the wisdom is real. 2 desperate women are dragged before your throne, fighting over the single living infant, each swearing the child is hers, with no witness on earth to settle it. The whole court leans in, certain the boy king will stumble on his first true test. You don't blink. You call for a blade and pronounce the coldest verdict ever spoken in that hall. Cut the living child in 2 and give each woman half. The sound of steel sliding free echoes off the marble. One woman nods. Fine, split it, let neither have him. The other collapses to the floor, begging you to spare the child and give it to the rival. Anything, just let it live. You raise your hand. The blade stops, and you point to the one on the floor. She is the mother. The room goes silent with terror and awe. By nightfall, the story is racing across every trade road in the east. The new king of Israel sees straight through the human heart. Kings do not war with a mind like that. They send gifts. They send daughters. And the first daughter they send is the greatest prize on the map, the Pharaoh's own child. Understand what this marriage truly is. It is not romance. It is Wall Street in linen and gold. The mightiest empire on earth, Egypt, will now never roll its chariots against you because its blood sleeps under your roof. One wedding buys you a border worth more than 10 armies.
But the true engine of your fortune is not the bedroom, it is the map. Look at where you sit. You own the Via Maris, the single land bridge that stitches Africa to Asia, Egypt to Mesopotamia. You are the toll booth of the entire ancient world. Not one caravan of silk, of pepper, of incense, of forged blades crosses the planet without dropping a tax into your vaults. You are the Amazon of the Iron Age, and every road on earth ships through your warehouse. The documents are precise about the haul. Your fixed annual income, pure passive flow, is 666 talents of gold. Translate that into something a living person can feel. That is 25 tons of solid gold landing at your gate every single year, untaxed just from tolls. In today's prices, $1.8 billion a year dropped into your account while you sleep.
You bring so much silver into the city that silver stops being treasure. The chronicles say it piles up until it is worth no more than the gravel in the street. You did not just get rich, you broke the price of money itself. And gold was never your only mine. Before the tolls, your wealth was forged in fire. Deep in the southern desert, bound laborers melt raw stone at 50 degrees to pull out copper, and copper in the Iron Age is the lithium of its century. Whoever controls the metal controls the arrowheads, the cauldrons, the tools of an entire region. You control it. Then you spend that fortune on the ancient world's most obscene flex. You stockpile 1,400 iron war chariots and 12,000 elite Egyptian horses, the largest private war fleet on the face of the earth. Think of it as 12,000 Ferraris, bought in cash, parked in the desert, polished daily, and never once driven into a real fight. A garage of thunder, built purely so the world would know you could afford it. You have power now, real, crushing, planetary power. And here, around your throne, you make the decision that will quietly poison everything. To build the empire you dream of, you need hands, endless free hands. So you turn on your own people. You raise the forced levy and conscript over 153,000 of your own countrymen, driving them into the mountains to break stone and fell cedar under the whip of your foreman for no wage at all. The son of the scandal, the boy they pitied, now owns the bodies of the nation that once looked down on him. You tell yourself it is the price of greatness. You tell yourself they will thank you when they see what rises. They will not. But that reckoning is years away. For now, the gold is flowing, the world is bowing, and you have not yet built the thing that will make every king on earth lose his breath.
Night falls on the richest man alive, and the richest man alive is afraid of the dark. You have the mind of a genius and the vaults of a god, yet when the lamps go down, terror climbs into the bed with you. So you do the only thing absolute power allows. You buy a wall of human bodies. 60 of Israel's most lethal warriors stand in a ring around your bed every single night, swords already drawn in the blackness, eyes open, watching the doors until dawn. The old songs record it plainly, 60 blades,
every night for one sleeping man. You own everything the eye can see, and for exactly that reason, you cannot close your eyes near anyone you see. This is the first poison, paranoia. It does not arrive when you are weak, it arrives when you are untouchable, because a man with $2 trillion has 2 trillion reasons to suspect the cup, the shadow, the smiling face at the table. The second poison is loneliness, and it seeps in through the harem you built for power. 1,000 wives, and not one you chose for love. Each was a treaty, a border, a deal, and the women you married to keep the peace now whisper every day for one small thing, a place to worship their own gods. Year after year, the pressure never stops, and here the most devout builder of the Holy Temple does the unthinkable. Worn down, mentally exhausted, you begin to fund dark altars to foreign idols on the hills around your own sacred city. You did not lose your faith in a great storm of doubt. You surrendered it out of sheer fatigue. The strongest will on earth sanded away one quiet request at a time.
Your own body turns against you, too. A lifetime of fattened deer, ultra-refined bread, and sweet wine every day leaves your joints swollen and burning with chronic pain. The hands that signed for nations now ache to hold a cup. The frost-cooled luxury that defined you is quietly eating you from the inside. And then you pick up a pen and write down the most haunting confession in the history of wealth. You write that you denied yourself nothing, every woman, every dish, every pleasure, every tower and garden the mind could imagine, and you woke up empty. All of it, you write, is vapor, chasing the wind. The man who proved that money can buy the entire world is the same man who proves in his own hand that the entire world buys you nothing that lasts. That is the paradox at the center of your throne. You spent your whole life filling a vault that could never fill you. Now feel the system you built begin to turn. The forced levies, the crushing taxes, the 150,000 of your own people broken in the mountains for your glory. That resentment has been hardening into stone for 20 years. Out at the edges, old enemies you once kept quiet are stirring again, sensing the lion has grown slow. And inside your own house waits the worst threat of all, your heir. Spoiled on the bottomless wealth he never had to earn, soft, arrogant, deaf to wisdom, the boy who will inherit the greatest fortune on earth and has no idea what it cost to build it.
You can see it all coming. The genius who read the hearts of 2 desperate women and the breathless Queen of Sheba can surely read the cracks running through his own kingdom. The tax revolt waiting to erupt, the empire balanced on a single, brittle name. And there is nothing your gold can do to stop it. For the first time, the wealth that solved everything solves nothing at all. The end is already moving toward you, and it will come for you in a way no king could ever script. Quiet, slow, and undone by the smallest creature in the world. The end does not come on a battlefield. It comes while you are working. You are old now, your joints on fire, your kingdom cracking, but the obsession never released you. So there you stand at the great works, leaning your full weight on a tall cane of black ebony, watching the bound laborers move stone. And then, quietly, between one breath and the next, the light leaves you. Your road ends right there, on your feet,
eyes still open, hand still gripping the staff. But here is the cruelty the old legends could not resist. You were so feared, the men around you so terrified of your gaze, that not one of them dares to look up and check. They see the king standing, watching, unmoving, and they keep working. For days, some tellings say for months. The richest man who ever lived, propped upright by a stick, ruling an empire of frightened hands long after he can rule anything at all. Until a single termite, blind and tiny, finds the ebony cane and eats it hollow from within. The wood gives way, and the rigid form of the $2 trillion king pitches forward and falls face first into the dust, toppled at last, not by an army, not by a rival, not by all the enemies who feared him, but by the smallest creature in the world.
That is the whole sermon of your life in a single image. The man who could buy winter, who blinded ambassadors with the sun, who made silver worthless, undone by an insect that could not even see the gold it was standing on. And the fortune? Watch how fast it runs through the world's fingers. You are barely cold when the cracks you saw tear wide open. The taxes, the forced labor, the 20 years of resentment, it all detonates. The kingdom you spent your life building splits in two in a matter of weeks. Then comes the looting. Within roughly 5 years, the Pharaoh of Egypt marches into your holy city and strips it bare. Every golden shield in that blinding hall, every golden cup carried out the door, and your soft, spoiled air, too weak to stop any of it, is reduced to hanging cheap bronze replicas on the walls where solid gold once hung, hoping no one notices the difference. An empire of $2 trillion evaporated in 60 months. The richest house in human history, paying its bills in painted bronze.
But the gold was never what survived. Your name was. 3,000 years later, the palaces are dust and the shields are gone, yet the world still says your name to mean two things at once: the wisest mind and the deepest fortune that ever lived. They still whisper of the sealed ring that bound the spirits. They still tell of the queen who lost her breath and of the son some say she carried home. The boy, who legend claims, slipped back into your city years later and stole away the most sacred relic on earth, hiding it in the mountains of Africa, where armed monks swear they guard it to this hour. You lost the gold, you kept the myth, and the myth was always worth more. So before you go, answer the one question your whole life was really asking. You were handed the wisdom of the ages and the wealth of the world, and you wrote at the end that all of it was vapor. So tell me down in the comments, if every road, every vault, and every crown on earth had been laid at your feet, what would you have done differently? Would you have stopped? Could you?